Retiring early is not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. And there are two people that retire early, and I want you to be the latter, and here's why. Person number one retires early, which really just means before age 65, as I see it. Let's say 62, and they hesitate going out to eat, or taking that big trip, or being able to help a child with a down payment for their first home. Then there's person B, and person B is able to do all those things with confidence. And I want you to be the latter, where you don't retire early on paper, but you retire early because you know you're in a position to do so. I have some clients that are 50 years old and they're retiring early and they are in a great position. I have other clients that are retiring at 60 and right when they came to me, it was, all right, I don't know if I can make it happen. It's a little close. And I'm not in the business of showing anyone a rosy picture, so I'd rather that you retire early when you're truly in a position to do so. If that means working 6 more months or working another year or shifting your investment strategy or the way you view tax planning, that's why I love this stuff. It's not simply, I love numbers. It's, I want to use numbers so you can go live your dream life. And for some people, it's spending time with kids, and other times it's travel. It's sometimes a combination. I want you to do what you want to do. And that's why I love this planning stuff. So in today's video, I'm going to go over the 5 things that my wealthiest clients have told me when it comes to their successful early retirement and how you can make sure that you're incorporating this into your life. Because so many people are not. And it's not that they're not doing it because they've never thought about it. It's they're not doing it because they don't know the framework to think through it. As one of you mentioned in a previous podcast, in fact, I'll put the review right here for you. I don't believe in making fluff content where it's just, hey, this is kind of general, high level. Now, as always, it depends on your plan, but I don't want to just stop there. It depends, but let me give you helpful information. So my goal is by the end of today's video that you know what you need to do to be in an awesome position to retire early with confidence, not just on paper. If you're new to the channel, my name is Ari. I am a financial advisor and I help people retire early. I'm the host of the Early Retirement Podcast and vice president here at Root Financial Partners. If you're interested in any of the following topics, paying less in taxes, investing better, and just overall having a better retirement where you feel that you're optimizing, you're in the right spot. My joke here, many of you have heard this too many times, but my clients tell me, Ari, you have a trigger word I've heard. What is your trigger word? My trigger word is fine. So people are like, Ari, how was your weekend? It was fine. I don't do fine, okay? I do optimize. So today, I'm gonna show you how you can optimize your finances. Number 1, you're going to do some goal setting. Now, I know it can sound a little woo-woo, but I don't need to just set goals and forget about them. My best clients knew what they wanted to spend and knew what they would be excited for. For example, you'll learn this. I'm the example guy. I think it's the best way to learn. So example number 1 here. If you retire early, let's call it age 60, and you go, Ari, I don't know how much I want to spend, but maybe it's $6,000 a month. Well, I don't want you to go into retirement going, I want to spend $6,000 a month or $72,000 a year after taxes, adjusted for inflation, because I think that just lets me pay my core expenses, but it doesn't include travel. So maybe let's put $10,000 a year on top of that. Let's call it $6,000 for core expenses, maybe another $10,000 a year for travel. Maybe it's not perfect, but let's say the first 5 years, who knows? But the reality is that's where a lot of people come to me. It's I've got a general sense, but I don't know exactly what. And I don't need you to have it perfectly dialed in, okay? No one ever does. And too many people get that analysis paralysis and then just keep working because it's easier. It's what you know. The hard work is actually doing what I'm going to ask you to do right now, which is I want you to write out your perfect world. You don't really have to write it out, but you can think about it right now and seriously dream big. Don't just go, okay, these are the core gas, groceries, general bills. It's talk to me about your dream retirement. And this is what I'll have clients do. If you say, Ari, $6,000 a month, that's kind of what just lets us barely get by. That's like core expenses. Okay, great. Let's really talk about what's your dream retirement. You're retired right now. What are you spending your time doing? Are you going out to eat? Are you volunteering? Are you just spending more time with family? Are you doing much more trips? What are you doing? And let's say you go, Ari, after all of that, my dream retirement is $10,000 a month. Okay, well, $10,000 adjusted for inflation after taxes. Here's a blank check. Do you feel that $10,000 a month would allow you to do everything you want to do? You go, Ari, I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I go, I get it, but here's how I want you to think through it. That $10,000 a month, if you were mirroring that, would you be okay? And most people go, Ari, that would allow me to do what I want to do. Now, that's just most people. You might need a whole lot more or a whole lot less, but now we get to start looking at trade-offs because step 1 here is goal setting. What would you be excited for? You say, Ari, $10,000 a month would be wonderful. Great. Based on your assets and income sources, could you start creating that income at age 55? Is it 60? Is it 62? Is it 63? I did a video before on what's the impact of one more year on your retirement. And it can be massive, but too many people just keep pushing back the goalposts. So they'll set a goal. I want to spend $10,000 a month starting at age 62 and start living the life I've dreamed of. Great. I want you to start doing that as well. But too many people will say, no, I said I needed $2 million, but no, Ari, I need 2.5, then I'll be comfortable. Well, Ari, the market's down right now, so let's wait a little bit, maybe 6 more months. And they keep pushing back and look back, go, wow, Ari, why didn't I spend more time doing what I wanted to do when I was in a good position? And so the first thing I want you to do here is really get intentional about goal setting. How much would you want to spend in a perfect world? You don't have to have it perfect. I have a cash flow planner in my description that you can use to try to come up with that number most effectively. I look at budgeting a little different than most, so that should make it super simple and super easy for you. Number 2 is I want you to go, what would I really want to spend my time doing? I've got a few jokes here, and you'll hear a lot of dopey jokes from me if you become a client, but a lot of people will come to me, it's, all right, I can't wait to travel and do these things. And I've got one person who came to me and they moved to Hawaii when they retired early, and they loved it. For 3 weeks, not really forever, okay? So they loved it, and then all of a sudden they came back, big financial hit. I had another client who did a similar experience in Hawaii, and they did it for 6 weeks, and they loved it, not forever. I had another client, they loved golfing, so they went and golfed. Wonderful, they've been waiting to golf a ton. They golfed a ton, and guess what it did? Put a ton of pressure on their back. So their back hurt. 8 weeks later, Ari, tell your clients, please don't put your whole retirement on golf, because you gotta have something else ready to look forward to. So that's number 1. Number 2 is they think long-term. And number 1 was a long answer because it's the most important in my opinion. Number 2 is they think long-term. You might be 55 years old today, maybe you're 60, maybe you're 65. The reality is if you want to retire early before age 65 and have a consistent retirement where your income is providing what you need to be a long-term investor because you are young. You are going to be here the next 30, 40 plus years, hopefully. And because of that, I need income to last that long. So I don't want you to have a super safe portfolio for the first 5 or 10 years, and then you're kicking yourselves down the line. I also don't want you to have a super aggressive portfolio to the point where now you're going to be in a tough spot because if markets are fluctuating consistently at a very high level, well, now all of a sudden, where's income going to come from if markets are down? I don't want you to have to sell things at a loss. So can we be really efficient with our mindset of we need this income to be absolutely dialed in at the correct level for our asset allocation? So what amount in equities, fixed income, and cash, so you can be able to create the income you need for not the first 10 years, but the next 30, 40 plus years of your life. Number 3 is wealthy people, my wealthiest clients, they don't obsess over things that are irrelevant. They don't go, oh my gosh, market's up or down this month. What do I do? Am I going to be okay for retirement? They have a plan, and the plan tells them if they're going to be okay. My job is to present trade-offs as an advisor. If you invest this way, here's what it could create. If you do this tax strategy, here's the savings it could make. But it's your job to go, am I living a retirement I'm really excited about? And if you're spending all your time thinking about, oh my gosh, the market's up this month, down the next month, oh my gosh, tax legislation is changing, then you're really not, in my opinion, more than likely, living your dream retirement. Most people don't tell me that they cannot wait to look back on their life and say their average return was 9.3264729%. They say, Ari, I'm so glad I retired 2 years earlier and spent more time with my family. Ari, I'm so glad that we did this tax strategy because it was allowing me to retire 6 months earlier than I thought. That's why people love this stuff. But too often, people think the more they think about it, the better their investments will do. Some of my best clients forgot their passwords. Number 4 is they surround themselves with people smarter than them. They retire early and they hope that their friends can as well. So it's not just them retiring, let's say at age 60 and sitting back going, hey, I did it. It's, I want to give back. And everyone gives back in different ways. Some people, it's literal charitable giving, and that's important to them. Other people go, Ari, I want to be a mentor because I retired early, and you guys, I know it's hard to hear this, but the reality is you are doing an awesome job. And here's why I can tell you this. You're listening to this content. If you're listening to this, hearing everything I'm talking about, I don't do what's a 401k and what's a Roth IRA. That's not what I talk about. I say, you know what those things are, let's get the most out of them. And there are people that would love to be in your position one day, and they want to hear it from you. And so if you spent 30 years in IT, can you go mentor someone in IT? Not taking all of your retirement time, but maybe not traditional volunteering, but it's mentorship. And other people, it's, all right, I don't want to do that at all. I want to go to Meetup. And a lot of you guys know I talk about that because I have one client that loved it, and now a lot of you use it as well. Meetup, you can go online and go see museums with other people that are, in many cases, smarter than you oftentimes because maybe they retired even earlier, or you know what, they're not smarter in the traditional book smart sense, but maybe street smart in terms of just perspective on life, what have you. Define smart as you like it. But the reality is you might be able to go out and do these things and you just don't know it right now. And so I would rather, when you're thinking about these things, it's, yes, what's a 401k, Roth IRA, get it optimized so you can go live your best life. Don't keep worrying about it needlessly. And the smartest clients of mine, that they allow me to be able to do my best work for them, and they go spend their time and energy and effort focusing on what's going to make them happiest for the next 20, 30 years. And the fifth one is that they don't react needlessly. And here's what I mean by that. When markets go down, it is not fun, especially if you have $1 million and markets go down by 20%. Well, now all of a sudden you go, oh my gosh, I just lost $200,000. That's what people think, but you didn't. Your statement shows $800,000, but you didn't lose it. You don't lose anything until you realize that loss. Now, here's how I want you to think about it. Right now, if you are 60 years old, the most important thing is that your investments are dialed in well. And here's my example. If you have $1 million and you get 10% growth, wonderful, you made $100,000. Now, if you have $10,000, and this is maybe you, call it 30, 40 years ago, you're starting your 401k or Roth IRA, you're probably going, how do I invest really well? I tell people not to think about that. Yes, it's important. When you're early on in your career, you have 10,000 bucks, you get a 10% rate of return, that's $1,000. So what's more important early on in your career? Adding more dollars or getting a good return? The most important thing is adding 10,000 more dollars. That's way better than getting a $1,000 return. It's the opposite where you are now. So here you are, maybe you've got $1 million or $2 million or $5 million. If you have $5 million, you get a 10% return, that's $500,000. Good luck comparing that to a $30,000 maximum 401k contribution. I need you invested really, really well to capture the right return. And so the best clients of mine understand how compound growth works and understand they need this income for a very long time. And they have a strategy that plans for all of this, because what I did not mention today is health insurance. What I did not mention today is, oh my gosh, we need our income to last for longer than the traditional retirement, estate planning, insurance. We need to dial in all of these things, but those are the 5 biggest things that most people just overlook. And so hopefully that framework is helpful. I love getting to do this. This is all I do. I help people retire early. If you're interested in working with myself or another planner here at the firm, Root, of course, please reach out to me in the description below. You can see a link where you can optimize your finances. Click on that and it'll tell you next steps. If you did like this video, please do like this video, share it with a friend. It's more fun to retire early with someone. So my kind ask is that you help over 1 million people retire early with confidence. And the way you can do that is by sharing it with your friends and coworkers. So thank you in advance. See you at the next video. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you don't know, I am the host of the Early Retirement Podcast, and this is what I love doing. I help people create a custom strategy to retire early. You can always reach out to me or a member of our team here at Root, and we would be happy to walk you through our planning process to show you how we can help you get more life out of your money.